Welcome back to CEO.CA. Joining us in this episode is Tim Crossley, the CEO of Adyton Resources. This is a gold explorer that's targeting major resource expansion at their Feni Island project in Papua New Guinea. Tim, let's start with this. You began a drilling program back in February this year and reported your first results in July. Can you walk us through the progress of the program and what you're currently targeting as well?
Sure. And hi, Rachel. Thanks for CEO.CA having me back on your program. Yeah, look, we started drilling in February on Fenny. I mean, obviously we'd been drilling before that on our other project at Ferguson Island, which is under a joint venture. As we reported in our last two press releases, we gave some pretty detailed updates on the progress and certainly the visual mineralization that we were seeing. And in the most recent press release, we actually had the preliminary assays for our holes FDDs 001, 2 and 3. We're now drilling up to hole 11. And unfortunately, probably one of the issues that we're confronted with is a turnaround time with assays in Papua New Guinea at the moment, which has been quite slow. But we have reported preliminary assays for holes 1, 2 and 3, and we've reported those publicly as well. And we should be in a position to report fairly soon some of the final assays and multi-element scans for those, plus some of the more recent holes like 4, 5 and 6 as well, which we'd be targeting in the near future.
Well, when we talk about your July drill results, a headline result is 144 meters at over a gram per ton gold. What do these kind of results tell you about the potential size of the deposit?
Yeah, look, it's a great question, Rachel. I mean, Fenny, we've always known Fenny is a big mineral system, right? There's no question about that. It's a big mineral system. It lies in a belt with some of the largest mineral systems globally. Simberi, Lihir, and Panguna. So we're certainly in a mineral belt that has produced some of the world's greatest mineral systems, all of which are incidentally being brought into production. Probably the question that's always hung over Fenny is one, how big can this be, and two, what are the grades going to be? And I guess that's really the focus of this drill program. We're sitting with a mineral inventory of just under 1.5 million ounces prior to this drill program. As I've stated, I think on my last interview with CEO.CA, we'd be targeting sort of minimum 2.5 with a pathway to 5. I personally think that's a conservative position. We often say, well, what are your constraints, Tim? Is the island size a constraint? Not really. I mean, our island is a little bit smaller than Lihir, but it's much bigger than Simberi, and Simberi is an 8 million ounce deposit. What are some of the other constraints we see within that structural corridor? I think the current view of our geologists is maybe that the current boundaries that had been originally mapped are not real boundaries, that they actually might be the pathway to bring the minerals up, and we'll be testing outside those boundaries. In fact, the next couple of drill holes will be doing that. So, look, we're definitely on a big mineral system. We know that. What are the unanswered questions is how big and what grade, and that's what we'll be looking to answer over this coming drill program. And also we're starting to see plenty of copper minerals as we reported in our last press release as well. So that's an exciting upside for the project.
Well, yeah, I mean, since you kind of brought us there, let's ask you that first. One other thing about the current program is that focus on adding copper to your resource estimate. But many of your historical holes weren't assayed for copper. What kind of impact could copper have on the economics of Fenny, especially in today's market with where copper is at today?
I mean, substantial. If we just reflect back perhaps on one of the drill holes that Adyton did back in 2021, I think it was ADK 004. We hit 6 meters of 5.1% copper. We had about 45 meters, 0.3%. I think that intercept was about 70 meters at about half a percent copper. and also grading around about a gram or just over a gram gold. So copper could be a very material driver of value here and pay dirt here. I guess it's early days in terms of the current program and understanding where, what are the core host rocks that are hosting the copper. We're still trying to understand that, probably waiting for assay information to help us, do cross sections and then sort of geometrically and three-dimensionally understand which way the copper trending rocks are going. But yeah, to your question, yeah, copper could be a very, very important driver of value to this project.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing you also mentioned is the fact that you're between two world-class gold mines, Lihir with 87 million ounces and Simberi with 8 million ounces. Can you talk to us about, how this gives Adyton potential advantage, right? Being in this proven geological belt here.
Yeah, look, I think there's two parts to that advantage, and Rachel. One is obviously the geology. We're in a mineral corridor that's proven. You named two great deposits with Simberi, Lihir. The one you didn't mention is on the other side of us, which is Panguna. So either side of Feni Island, there's been more than 120 million ounces of discoveries that have been brought into production. I'm not sure that there's any other mineral belt in the world that can speak those sorts of numbers. And what we do know is that the age of the rocks, the style of the mineralization, we're in a geothermally active zone like Lihir. There's a lot of things that are very similar to Lihir at Fenny. The drivers of the Lihir system are almost identical to the drivers of the Fenny system. So that gives us incredible confidence that not just because of the success of Lihir, but also the success at Simberi and Panguna southeast of us. But just gives us a confidence that if you want to use that old saying, if you want to find an elephant, you've got to go to where elephants are found. This is where you find elephants, and that's what gives us confidence to continue doing what we're doing at Fenny. And it's off the basis of an existing strong platform. I mean, we've already got just under 1.5 million ounces. We think we've got a pretty good idea where some of the previous explorers got things wrong. And hence we're correcting those with this program, particularly with a much deeper drilling program and testing some areas that just haven't been tested. Just by example, our current mineral resource actually sits between two areas, Matankaka and Kabang, and right in the middle of that there was actually nothing reporting to the mineral resource estimate. Well, we've drilled two drill holes there, holes FTDs 004 and 5, although we don't have the assays back on those holes there. But one of those holes, as we reported in our press release drill, we took that down to 830 odd metres. Looked like it visual mineralisation from 45 to over 800 metres. I mean, that's an extraordinary intercept if it assays, and that's in an area that had nothing reporting to the mineral resource estimate. So that's going to add significant ounces if it assays like it's been logged.
Mm. Well, before we go, for viewers who are watching and looking at your stock and considering, what kind of key milestones do you want to point out for us, given everything we discussed so far, over the next 6 months, a year? What's on my mind is, when might we see an updated resource estimate for Adyton?
Yeah, look, obviously the most immediate milestones, Rachel, relate to assays coming out and the press release associated with those assays. And I think that's what everyone's waiting for. That's what we're waiting for. As to mineral resource estimate, look, I possibly might have changed my views a little bit as to whether we would rush into going to do another an updated mineral resource estimate. I think the current view is that if the drill results confirm the visual mineralisation and that is repeated through ongoing additional drill holes, we would probably push back constraining ourselves by going down an updated mineral resource estimate, but to continue to drill, continue to build the story, continue to build the resource by releasing to the market, strong, long mineralized intercepts. And then perhaps in 6 to 12 months' time, once that data's all in, the assays are all in, we've interpreted it, we've got our head around what we've got here, then we may go to an MRE at that point, but it's certainly not within the next 6 months.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to leave it there, Tim, but thank you for being here.
Cheers. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks for having me.
All right. And for viewers at home, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. We'll see you next time.